A clown knocked on Marlene Warren's door and shot her, then disappeared. The bizarre killer clown murder in Wellington, Florida, went cold for 27 years until modern DNA tied the crime to Sheila Keene Warren. Watch the full true crime breakdown of motive, suspects, and the shocking forensic breakthrough. It was a sunny Florida morning when a clown appeared on the porch of 40-year-old Marlene Warren. An orange wig, a bouquet, and a balloon that read, "You're the greatest." 2 shots later, Marlene was mortally wounded, and the clown calmly walked back to a white Chrysler LeBaron and drove away. The case became known as the killer clown murder, a baffling Wellington cold case that went unsolved for 27 years. Detectives suspected infidelity, a hidden mistress, and a motive that pointed straight to Sheila Keene. But without the science to prove it, justice stalled. Decades later, advanced DNA testing on synthetic orange wig fibers reopened the investigation and changed everything. Stay with me. We'll walk through the murder, the suspects, the abandoned LeBaron, and the courtroom drama that followed, plus the unanswered questions that still haunt this case. It's a quiet Saturday morning in an affluent Florida suburb. The sun is shining, the neighborhood is peaceful, and you're finishing up breakfast with your family. Then the doorbell rings. You open the door, and standing on your porch is a clown. They're wearing an oversized orange wig, a bright red bulb nose, and a painted-on smile. In one hand, they hold a bouquet of red and white carnations. In the other, 2 balloons bob in the breeze. One features Snow White, the other has bold letters that read, "You're the greatest." You smile, assuming it's a bizarre but sweet delivery. You reach out and say, "Oh, how pretty." But the clown doesn't hand you the flowers. Instead, they raise a gun, shoot you point blank in the face, calmly turn around, and walk back to a white convertible. They don't run. They don't panic, they just drive away into the Florida heat. This sounds like the opening scene of a horror movie. But on May 26, 1990, this exact nightmare happened to a 40-year-old mother named Marlene Warren. What followed was one of the most bizarre, frustrating, and twisted investigations in American history, a case that would go ice cold for 27 years, until a shocking piece of evidence finally revealed the monster hiding behind the makeup. To understand the killer clown case, we have to look behind the closed doors of Marlene Warren's life. In 1990, Marlene lived what looked like the American dream. She and her husband, Michael, lived in a beautiful home in Wellington, Florida. Together, they had built a highly successful business empire, managing a lucrative used car lot and a fleet of rental properties. But the dream was a facade. Marlene had been confiding in her family that she and Michael were locked in a bitter failing marriage. She suspected he was having an affair. The tension was so thick that Marlene had recently issued a chilling warning to her own mother. "If anything happens to me, Michael did it." She was preparing to leave him. But before she could, Memorial Day weekend arrived. When the gunshot echoed through the house that morning, Marlene's 22-year-old son, Joe, rushed to the front door. He found his mother collapsing to the floor and watched in horror as the clown strolled away. Marlene was rushed to the hospital, but the damage was catastrophic. 2 days later, she was gone. The hunt for the killer clown began immediately. And given Marlene's ominous warning, detectives looked straight at her husband, Michael Warren. There was just one problem. Michael had an ironclad alibi. At the exact moment the trigger was pulled, he was hours away, traveling to a horse race with friends. He couldn't have been the clown. But if Michael didn't pull the trigger, who did? The investigation soon led police to a 27-year-old woman named Sheila Keene. Sheila worked repossessing cars for Michael's dealership. But according to the whispers around town, she was much more than an employee. She was Michael's mistress. When detectives started digging into Sheila's movements, the breadcrumbs they found were staggering. Just 2 days before the murder, a woman matching Sheila's exact description walked into a local public supermarket. She bought a bouquet of flowers and 2 balloons, including one that said, "You're the greatest." Even more damning, a clerk at a local costume shop reported that a woman had recently come in and purchased a clown costume, an orange wig, and a red nose. When detectives showed the clerk a photo lineup, they pointed directly at Sheila Keene. The net was closing in. Shortly after, police found the getaway car, the white Chrysler LeBaron, abandoned in a grocery store parking lot. When investigators searched the vehicle, they found a crucial piece of evidence: tiny strands of bright orange, synthetic hair. It seemed like an open and shut case. The police knew she did it. The public knew she did it. But here is the most agonizing reality of the justice system. Knowing someone committed a murder and proving it in a court of law are 2 very different things. In 1990, DNA technology was in its infancy. The orange fibers from the car couldn't be definitively matched to the wig. The clerks from the stores couldn't be 100% certain the woman they saw was Sheila. The physical evidence simply wasn't strong enough to secure an arrest warrant. Sheila and Michael denied everything. And slowly, as the months turned into years, the leads dried up. The killer clown case went cold. Years turned into decades. The world moved on. But Michael and Sheila didn't just move on. They got married. In 2002, 12 years after Marlene's brutal murder, Michael Warren and Sheila Keene tied the knot. They moved to Abingdon, Virginia, opened a fast food restaurant, and lived a quiet, comfortable life in a massive lakeside home. For 27 years, Sheila went to sleep every night thinking she had committed the perfect crime. She had eliminated her rival, married the wealthy husband, and gotten away with murder. But she forgot one thing. Science never stops advancing. In 2014, the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office received a federal grant to reopen cold cases. Detectives pulled the dusty boxes from the Marlene Warren murder. They took those tiny synthetic orange hairs found in the getaway car back in 1990 and ran them through modern cutting-edge DNA analysis. This time, the results were undeniable. The DNA on the hairs belonged to Sheila Keene Warren. On September 26, 2017, police surrounded Michael and Sheila's car in Virginia. 27 years after a clown knocked on Marlene Warren's door, Sheila was finally in handcuffs, charged with first-degree murder. But if you think this story ends with a neat, perfect bow, you're wrong. The trial was delayed for years, bogged down by the pandemic and endless legal battles. Finally, in April 2023, just weeks before her trial was set to begin, 59-year-old Sheila Keene Warren did the unthinkable. She took a plea deal. She pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. In exchange, she was sentenced to just 12 years in prison. Because of the time she had already served awaiting trial, and the specific Florida laws from 1990 regarding good behavior, Sheila is expected to be released from prison in just a few short years. As for Michael Warren, he has never been charged with a crime. To this day, he denies having any involvement in his first wife's death, despite Marlene's haunting final warning. Marlene Warren's son, who watched the clown walk away that day, finally got a guilty plea on paper. But for many following the case, a bitter question remains. Was true justice actually served? Did Michael Warren orchestrate the whole thing from the shadows? And is a 12-year sentence enough for a cold-blooded murder disguised behind a painted smile? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into true crime, and remember, be careful who you open your door to.